Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Ryan, and this video I'm going to talk about a coding problem that I got on an interview. So not too long ago I was interviewing with Google, and there was a question that really stumped me. I couldn't do it during the interview basically, and I was trying to figure out how to do it for the past few days because I was just thinking to myself, wow, I can't believe I couldn't solve this. So you know how developers get, you just don't want to walk away until you solve it. So it's been about 4-5 days trying to solve it, and I think I finally got it. So basically the question was, given a string and then a substring, create a list of all permutations of that string with a given character. So at first, I didn't really know how I was going to solve it. I thought I was going to use just a string that replaced with a regular expression, but that didn't work out. And I was just trying all sorts of methods and algorithms during the interview, but I just couldn't do it. So I took some time to just research techniques, and then I just thought to myself, like, you know what? Why not use recursion? You know, I learned about this and it really came in handy, and that's exactly how I solved this problem. So I just want to share the answer with you guys, not to just, I guess, know it just for an interview or anything, but to actually learn techniques to solve problems when you're coding. So I'm going to go over how I solved it and just pretty much explain how I made it. So basically the function is going to take an input, which is a string, a target string, and then a list of permutations. So for example, we have a question mark, and we're going to replace all of them with each character permutation. So the first thing I do is address the base case. So if there's no string, or if it doesn't include the character to replace, we're just going to return a new list with the input string, just to stay consistent with the function definition. If the string is literally the same thing as the character to replace, then we can just simply return the permutation list. So now at this point, we start off by creating a list of permutations. Now, for each character or string in the permutation list, we're going to create a new string, which is just replacing that designated character with the permutation character. Now we check if the new string still has other characters to replace. Now if it does, actually this is misspelled, still has char. Now if there's still characters to replace, then what we do is we create a new list, and we set it equal to permutation string, which is this function itself. We pass in the new string and then the character and the permutation characters. So basically the same thing as this, but the only difference is now this new string has one less character to convert or permutate. So then once we get back that list, we just push it into the list of permutations, right? If there aren't characters to replace, then we just push that new character into the list. Now, once we finish this loop, we just return the list of permutations. Now the focus is this right here, right? This is the recursion process. As long as the new string has characters to replace, we keep calling itself and getting back a list of all possible permutations, right? So I'm going to come to the browser because I just have a little sandbox to develop with. I'm going to refresh the page. Inside sandbox, I just have an example here. We have the input string, the character to replace, and all string permutations. And then we just console log it. So what I'm going to do now is just create breakpoints. Let's say here, here, and here, and here, right? So first thing that happens is once we get to this point, new string is 0A, 0 question mark, since A is the first item, and then the question mark is what we're trying to replace. So the first iteration, we're looping through the permutation characters, and then we're just replacing that first occurrence of that character. Now, if there are still occurrences of that character, what we're going to do is pretty much call this function again with the new character and the other inputs, which should stay the same. The only difference is this new string has one less character to replace. So now if we step to the next function call, we can see now this is another function execution pushed onto the call stack. So now we have the input being 0A, 0 question mark, right? So then now we're in the next function execution. Now we're inside of this loop. Now here we have 0A, 0A, right? Now we have the next character. New string will be 0A, 0B, right? Because we're inside that next function call stack. Now there's no more characters to replace, so now we push it into the list of permutations, right? Now once we have the list of permutations, we can just return it. So now we have A, B. Now once we return this, we pop this function execution off of the call stack and go back to the first call. So then now we come back here, right? So this is from that other function execution that we just popped off the call stack. This is the original call now, right? So then we push the new permutation list into the original list, right? And you go to the next iteration, which is B, right? So now, if you look at the input string, you can see it's 0 question mark, 0 question mark, which was the original argument. So we're back into that first execution context. So then now we replace all occurrences of that with the next character in the permutation list, right? So then now we just repeat the process. When we return the list of permutations, now we have BA, BB, right? So now we pop this function execution off the call stack and then again go back to the original function call, right? So notice how the list of permutations still had the values from that first execution context. So we have that, and then we have the new list, and we just push that. So now we have all of them, right? And then we return that. And that's basically what we have now. So if we were to add more items to the permutation list, we should see all permutations with that new character. AA, AB, AC, BA, BB, BC, CA, CD, CC. Right? So that's basically the gist of it. Now, if you were to test this, the most important thing would to be each of the items of it is unique. So to test that, let's say we have function test, and we have constant scene equals an object. We're going to track each item by the key of this object. So I'm going to say for constant item of list if, let's just say, constant has seen equal seen with the index of item as the key. So if has seen, you're just going to return false because we know it's not unique. Else, we add it as a key. So when it say seen item equals item, and we know these are strings. So if it makes it past this loop, we can just return true. We know everything is unique. So let's pass this to the console. We test it. True, right? Everything in that object is true. So let's say we add another character, D. Save that, reload it. Let's do this. Console.log test. Save it. True, right? So this function scales. So if we do, let's say 1 and then question mark, and then we add in another character to permutate, let's say E, save it, reload. Now we have all these permutations and each of them are unique. So this function does work. So basically what I'm trying to emphasize is recursion is so important. It's a very vital concept to learn if you're into software engineering and coding and programming. So please just, I'll say, get back to basics. There are a lot of courses that helped me out. The first one is from this website called adx.org. Let's see if I can find it. Computer science. Well, actually, let's go to courses. Introduction to Computer Science and Programming Using Python. So this is the course that helped me learn a lot. The instructor is great. It's a lot of valuable content here. Another resource that's good to learn is this micro bachelor's program that they have. They have a computer science fundamentals that goes over a lot of computer science stuff that's important to know. And most importantly, the thing that helped me is data structures and algorithms. It's from University of San Diego. You learn a lot about testing, debugging, algorithms, data structure, and programming, a lot of the core essential fundamentals. So I'll add a link to all of them in the description, but yeah, this is the problem I had with Google, and it took me a couple days just to try to solve it. So hopefully it helped. Hopefully you guys learned what you should be focusing on as far as like learning and progressing as developers. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave a comment, and I'll see you later. Enjoy your day. Happy coding.